Why does it seem that the implementation of renewable energy industry is moving so slowly? Well, we can go into that on many levels, but one of the main barriers here is the market. We have most of our energy coming from non-renewables, which are not only detrimental to our health and the environment, but they're non-renewable, so they're going to run out. So we need to, at this point, start utilizing renewable energy implementation as quickly as we can and on a wider scale, so that when we do run out of the non-renewables, we will already be set up to have the power that we need to live our lives and make everything work. But, you know, the main question here is why? Why is it so slow? Why is this moving so slow? Why are there so many barriers to green energy and renewable energy, creating green energy jobs and new green industry? It's just, it's been a dream for quite a long time, you know, at least 30 or 40 years. And it's something that, you know, was spoken highly of, and it was a focus at the beginning of Obama's term, and it's just, we're not seeing it happen as quickly as you'd think it should happen. And there's a lot that's gone into specifically wind power in terms of halting the implementation of wind power. For instance, wind power is probably one of our simplest and most easily accessible renewable energy sources globally. It's something that is very instantly installed, and we have gale force winds. Literally just could, you know, we've seen hurricanes and buildings knocked down by wind, but there are times when the gale force winds cause immeasurable amounts of energy, immeasurable at this point because we haven't actually set up the adequate metering of that level of power that's literally quite common in our open spaces. These gale forces are creating power that's literally off the charts. And if we were able to put more focus into tapping that power, we could easily have enough power just from wind alone, not even going into solar or other renewables. We could easily just power the nation, power the world with wind power. It's something Europe is planning to do by the year 2015. They're literally focusing on possibly having 100% wind power for all of Europe by that soon, which is really incredible, you know. And America is still kind of behind the mark there. We have a lot of American industries, particularly oil companies, that are kind of, you know, BP is on board. They're creating a lot of wind power, but there's a lot of very sort of sophisticated terminology that's inaccessible to a layperson or to the average Joe, which are things such as, you know, cost of intermittancy mitigation. This is basically saying that the wind is too intermittent for the wind to be captured and utilized in the grid in a functional and well-patterned fashion. So because it's too intermittent, they can't figure out how to bring it into the grid and have it interface together with other existing power sources on the grid. And basically this is completely untrue. We have everything we need to bring intermittent wind power into the grid. We just, knowing that it's, there are times specifically in July and February, those are 2 times during the year where there's a lot less wind. And, so then we can bring in other power at that time, or use wind energy that's actually stored. And another one is another terminology which is sort of inaccessible, but it's widely used in the industry. It's called wind curtailment, and this is actually an intentional halting of the utilization of wind power for various reasons. Basically, power industries are saying we need to curtail wind because we're going to lose too much money if we implement wind power. For instance, oil companies and gas companies, well, they're going to lose their place in the market, and so they dread that loss to the point where they're curtailing wind industry. And then through this curtailment, lots of myths are used to establish the need for the curtailment. So all of the various wind industry myths, such as avian death. So a lot of you've heard about all the birds that are dying, when really we have more than quadruple the amount of birds dying from oil spills and the oil industry than we do from wind power. There were a certain number of birds that were dying and were recorded. There were a number of recorded deaths along the west coast from birds dying from windmills, and as they're flying into the windmill. And this was an extremely minute number of birds in relation to bird death, in relation to the bird death that was occurring from the oil industry. A lot of myths have also been created saying that wind industry would cause harm to the health of humans, and how they substantiate this, it's still completely kind of vague and unknown, but somehow this made it into the press for quite a while, and it didn't make any sense, but people still were saying this. It's kind of bizarre how myths come about and then how myths are spread. But the main myths are about that because it's intermittent, it can't be tapped in a functional way. And then one of the largest myths is that we just simply can't get enough power from wind, which is completely untrue. Wind power is, like I was saying, there's more power than we've even begun to try to tap. It's just almost immeasurable at this point, because we literally don't even have the instrumentation to measure how much power is coming in when the gale winds are in full force. And so any of the phrases such as, we just can't get enough power from wind, wind is it just doesn't create enough power, those are just complete and total myths, and we need to get past that so that we can implement wind power. Thank you very much.